Welcome to Life Over 40. For the past 4 decades, people have hung this number over our heads. And today is the day that we liberate ourselves from any shame, pressure, or aloneness that comes with getting over 40. In Life Over 40, my whole goal is to have honest, open conversations so that we feel connected along this next chapter of life. Hi, everybody. My name is Jessie Gary. I am super inspired by this new podcast. This podcast came about after a conversation with a friend that had only a few more years before retiring. And I'm thinking to myself, we still have a long way to go, God willing. However, we're always having this, oh, you're over the hill and you're 40 and all of this negative connotation around aging. In reality, it can be a beautiful process that is in our 20s, that is not our 30s, but is a new chapter of our lives. So this podcast is to be able to create a sisterhood, if you'll say, where we are really looking at some of the things in which we're facing from a day-to-day basis. And let's be honest, because we're not talking about it, we're getting to different milestones and we're like, hold on, what is sciatica? And what do I need to be doing now? And now I have to worry about this? Oh my goodness, my joints feel this way. And then people are like, oh yeah, this happens. How about we take away the mystery of this next season and chapter of our lives and really just start to talk about what we're going through, what we're facing, so that we can start to normalize what it's like to be 40 plus and thriving. And some days we may not feel like we're thriving, and that's okay. But it's important for us to stay in conversation and stay in community. I'm in fact turning 44 in March, and I am not feeling any kind of way outside of grateful. So let's be honest. We had fun in our 20s. In our 30s, it was one of those weird moments because now we're like, wow, I'm really, really an adult. And at 40, I feel that there's this new confidence that we can walk in, especially for those of us that learn to embrace what makes us special. And we're like, I don't want to really let go of that to make others happy. I want to be genuine with myself. I want to be able to say no, and that's a full sentence. I want to be able to be in my true, authentic self. And that's where we are. That's why we're here today. It's because this is a beautiful section of our lives. And if we're intentional with it, it can be an amazing new chapter. So you may be wondering, what can you expect in this podcast? I will have experts, some friends, as well as some educators and doctors that are going to be able to help us with navigating through some of these moments that we're experiencing. So you can truly find solutions or just feel like accepted because you are not alone. I want this to feel like a conversation on our couch where we're getting a chance to know each other. And I truly look forward to the future of this podcast and getting to learn more about you, learning more about the things that you really are wanting to feel as if you're connected with someone. In fact, we'll be even having some taboo conversations around infertility, conversations about hopes of marriage and maybe not happening, conversations of being in this sandwich era of taking care of little ones, but then also having to take care of our parents. In fact, we'll even have some conversations about dealing with grief and not having our parents there anymore. It's not all about, hey, what's the new fashion trends as we're getting over 40. It's about how do I navigate this chapter and learn how to thrive. Some of the topics will be things I know I've personally faced. I'm 44. I wanted children. I was hoping to be married by now, and I'm not there. Granted, I have a partner. I'm happy. I'm excited about the future of that. And I'm also excited about the possibility of being a foster parent at some point. So even though my story in life may not look as I would have envisioned, but that doesn't mean that I'm not happy or satisfied or that I have to feel the pressures that society wants to put on me, when my real truth is that I want to contribute to this world and I can still make the same impact regardless of how different it looks. In addition, I lost my mom in 2018. I was actually her caregiver. I know her last breath. I went through the process of seeing someone fighting for their life with cancer and a terminal illness. I've had to reshift the relationships that I have so that I didn't feel as if I'm alone. And we're going to talk about that with other people that are in a position of dealing with grief, because you may be experiencing it. Maybe your parents haven't passed away, but you may be in a caregiver mode. In fact, I joke with my friends and say that I went from my 20s where I was a designated driver because people were drinking, and because a lot of the people in my family are now over like 70 or 60, and let's just say driving at night isn't their thing. So now I am the designated driver because Jesse, is getting dark out. Can you drive? And this chapter is interesting. It's beautiful because I wouldn't trade it at all. It's beautiful because even though we all will pass away at some time, but I feel as if I'm more present to the stories that I get to remember and the impact that I get to make. The great thing about this is that over my 43, 44 years of life, I've been able to meet some really amazing women that are in different stages that will be able to share their journeys of having kids over 40 to going through perimenopause and or menopause, what it's like with raising teenagers. And I think that this is going to be interesting for us to dive into. I am currently babysitting my 3 little cousins, and stepping in this capacity has also made me present to the fact of some of your moms are out here like working hard, even when you have a partner that's contributing. But even in the midst of being this caregiver, being this individual that is essentially, I'm going to dumb it down real simple. I know it's way much more important than this, but essentially you're trying to keep this person, this human alive, and you're trying to help mold them so that they go and be this productive, contributing individual in society. And when we're spending 18 to 21 years of doing this. And for those of you that have multiple children, it may feel like it's been 30 years, depending on how widespread the ages are of your children. Once they're finally old enough, what then happens is then we sometimes find ourselves in this position of, who am I? And for some of us that don't have children, we still find ourselves in this position of, who am I? In fact, I started to get into that position when I was 39. Some people, when I told them this story, they were like, 39, oh my gosh, that must have felt depressing. And I'm like, no. In fact, it felt empowering because I felt like the previous years, even though I had goals, I was just letting life pass and I wasn't super intentional. I kind of was on vibes and purpose in a way. But when I say it was truly intentional about what I was passionate about, I can't really say that. So at 39, I found myself in this position of thinking like, what do I want my 50s to be like? What do I want my 60s to be like? What do I want retirement to be like? Because the same amount of time from retirement was the same amount of time from really being in high school. And I thought to myself, wow, I can start living intentionally today so that I can start building for the future that I want to have when I'm 65 and 70. Instead of looking at it like there's this, oh my gosh, things are going to be falling apart or death or any of those negative things. I thought to myself, I can really have the life that I wanted. And I want you to feel that way too. Even if you haven't started to think about what does your 60s look like? What do you want your retirement to look like? What would you want it to accomplish? Where do you want to live? What are the people, what type of people do you want around you? How do you want people to remember you? And again, we're not talking about this from a negative standpoint. We're talking about this from a place of power and fulfillment. When I got clear that I really don't want to have to be in the workforce mandatory after 65. I want to be in a position that I am being intentional with the things I'm doing today so that I can have the ability to travel with my partner, that I can be a foster parent because I will definitely do that before then. But if I wanted to volunteer just because I want to volunteer, I want to have freedom. For me, that is freedom. To be able to be like, this month we're going to be here, or every month we're going to go and travel to a different place. I want to be the example for my siblings. I want to be the example for my cousins and people that I interact with of really being able to be authentic in my life and the results that are possible. So this is why we're here, Life Over 40, because we're here physically, we're here mentally, we're here, kind of. But where are you? Where are you now in your journey? Are you feeling a little bit beat up? You feel like a shell of who you were? Are you looking for some type of guidance and direction? Wherever you are, even if you're fulfilled and you're like, I am 40 something and I'm thriving and I'm living the best life ever, I still want to hear from you because I want for us to be able to pick each other up, to lock arms so that we're truly able to do life. And that's what we're here for, community, not just the podcast, but life. We're here to be a community, not an island, but a community. So that's my big lofty goal for this podcast is community and unity so that we can start to see each other and support each other and talk about the things instead of stumbling upon it and finding ourselves wishing that someone would have said that this was going to happen or knowing that they experienced it and you can actually talk to them so that you know that you're not in it alone. So I'm super excited about taking this first step, this next journey with you. And I'll be putting out new releases every week with different interviews from some amazing, phenomenal women that are really going to help inspire you because I am really inspired by them as well. So it's a little selfish of me. But again, we're here for a community. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to growing with you. And I look forward to living an amazing life along you.